tia.yang presidential hopefuls are still struggling with a GOP primary debate last week and another scheduled for December. But former President Donald Trump has remained above the fray. He is effectively viewed as the incumbent by many Republican voters, and nothing has happened to remove him from his commanding lead in the polls. With bridges burned between Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence, he's in the market for another running mate. Former Trump aide Omarosa Manigault Newman likened Trump veepstakes to giving out roses to the Bachelor. So which suitor do we think will catch your eye? To answer this question, we will hold on to one of our classic 538 blueprints. As always, this will be a snake draft and we'll be doing 2 rounds. So we'll have 8 picks in total, based on a random order generator. The order is Meredith, Monica, Nathaniel, Tia, Meredith. You came first. Meredith Conroy. Okay. Here goes. I choose Tim Scott. Based on primary polls before he left, Scott is not well liked by voters. And I am not sure he's done much to clearly define himself or his policies in the debates. But I think the latter works in his favor for the VP race. Conservative. And he is a man of color who speaks about his experiences as a black man in ways that appeal to Republicans. Jennifer Richeson, a psychology professor at Yale, calls it mythology of racial progress, which is the belief that United States is making steady progress toward racial equality. While it uncomfortable for many people, including white political moderates, to feel shame or guilt about racial injustice in the United States. A person of color explaining that guilt and shame is unnecessary or that we are socially discouraged from further change actually appealing to some. Old UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is also a good spokesperson for this. As Stanford political science professor Hakeem Jefferson explained to the Washington Post earlier this year, I think that's why Scott is on Trump's short list. He also wasn't that critical of Trump and his record during the primary campaign, so it doesn't make Trump look weak to add him to the ticket. And for Scott, it avoids being labeled a hypocrite because he didn't openly attack the ticket he would be joining. Oh, and he's 58, so he'll appeal to voters who say they're worried the top of these tickets are too old. Nrakich. I think Scott would be a good choice if he wasn't running for president against Trump. As Leah Askarinam wrote for 538 in September, it has become rare for presidential candidates to tap a former primary rival as a running mate. Of the 19 unique Democratic and Republican presidential candidates since 1972, only 4 have tapped a former rival as a veep. What's more, Scott hasn't really hit the campaign trail. For example, despite being really strong on paper, he failed to make an impression in the Republican primary debates. A 538 Washington Post Ipsos poll taken after the September debate found that only 6% of Repub